think I belong here. I don't think I fit in.
Oh, nonsense. Of course you do.
No, I mean it. I mean it. It's just somebody must have goofed if I gotta stay here another day.
Peace. It's Professor Griff, public enemy, the ex-minister.
Which means it's too strong.
All right, greetings, family. Peace, peace. This is Professor Griff. This is Serious Minds Are in TV, and I know it's looking kind of, hold on. It's looking kind of, well, maybe it's my glasses that are foggy. Anyway, shout out to the Serious Minds family. Shout out to all those that have joined the study group. All right, and of course, in 2 weeks, we're doing a free book club, as long as you become a member. We're going to run down a book list that everyone should have. So join me on Serious Minds Join me on seriousmindsedu.com. All right, seriousmindsedu.com, so you can join the book club. All right, really appreciate that. Peace, Quan. What's good with you? All right, we got Quan on deck in the building. Shout out to everyone on IG. We're going to dive right into this story. The 6-year-old who shot his teacher in a Virginia classroom, Newport News. When I first heard, I just said to myself, as I always do, as you'll already know what I'm about to say, how does a 6-year-old get a firearm? How does a 6-year-old even know how to handle a firearm, how to shoot a firearm? What firearm was it? Because certain firearms, you have to have a certain kind of hand strength and even, to pull the trigger. Certain triggers have a 5-pound trigger pull, 6-pound trigger pull, whatever. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Miss Soleil. How are you? And thanks for the Cash App, Dan. Really appreciate the support. All right. My wife is probably somewhere eating something. I can just see it, envision it in my head right now. Like, anyway, 6-year-old shoots teacher in Virginia. All right. I pulled up a couple of articles. I tried to do some cross-referencing. I tried to get basically to the bottom of it, as they say, I guess. I don't know. Try to get the meats and the nuts and bolts of it and what actually happened. But they said the young, he said, I'm headed to breakfast. See, I knew it. Whose firearm was it? These are the questions that immediately came to my mind. Whose firearm was it? And if it's a firearm that's loaded without a lock on it, yeah, I'm trying to understand that particular dynamic. All right. Now, since this algorithm is doing some funny things, a lot of people are saying they're not getting my notifications. Everybody text 3 people and let them know that Professor Griff is on Serious Minds as we speak right now. All right, Quan, you good? All right. Devastating for you. I'm not, that question just doesn't, it don't sit right with me, because you could ask that question about any school district. We don't know too much about Newport News, school district. But you could say that, ask that question about any school district. Here we go. We've yet to understand, to know and understand that we need to develop an infrastructure to the point where we begin to educate our own. Shout out to all of the black mothers who still homeschool. Shout out to all of those black institutions that are still picking up the task or taking on the task of educating black children. All right. Shout out to Imwali Muke Bamani Barudi and his wife Iniya for unwavering service to the black community in reference to the school that they have, the Akabin house. All right. We need more schools like that. I'm thinking, what kind of firearms training? What kind of firearms training did the wife have in reference to home defense? Because that's one of the first things you learn is safety on how to secure the firearm. All right. It's practically a whole ritual that me and my wife have to go through when the grandchild comes over. It's like, check the weapons. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure they're not in a room where she can get to them by herself, put them in the safe, do something. All right. It's a whole ritual. And I think I'm not saying this for you to come join my class. There's firearm instructors, I'm sure, in Newport News, Virginia. That woman, she could have took an online course. All right. That firearm should have been in a lockbox somewhere with a lock, where there's biometrics, where it reads your fingerprint and your fingerprint only, or it's a combination that you only know. All right. I'll send my condolences to Sarak and her family. All right. I'm not going to go into details, but a lot of us are losing loved ones. All right. So we're going to send some positive energy out to that sister. All right. So I said to myself, who's going to actually tell the story that we need to hear in order to get the necessary details? All right. 6-year-old in custody after shooting teacher in Virginia. Nope, we're not doing that. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me share my screen with you. Quan, the attendance is going to be low tonight because they're watching the Georgia game. I guess, I don't know. It's happening in California. So, yeah. So you said Graffy Sketch said the boy really didn't know any better. Better firearms education to facilitate the prevalence that they have in the U.S. Wonder how the 6-year-old even came in possession of the weapon. So let me ask you something. Do a 6-year-old even have the faculties in order to even comprehend what the consequences are? Or has that 6-year-old been bred on video games, TV, rap music, rap videos, pardon me. So, yeah, we need to kind of look into that. Take a very hard look into that. And don't think someone is bashing the culture, or don't take it like someone is speaking against rap music. All right, let me see.
Away after a 6-year-old boy shot a female teacher yesterday in an elementary school classroom in Newport News, Virginia. According to the authorities, the student and teacher were in an altercation when the 6-year-old student who had the gun fired a single shot, hitting her. They say this was not an accidental shooting.
Yeah, the teacher was immediately rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, but officials say she has improved since she was admitted. CNN's Gloria Pazmino joining us now. Gloria, this is simply shocking. What more do we know about what led up to this incident?
That's right, Amber. Alex, a shocking, disturbing news out of Newport News, Virginia. This happened shortly after 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon while school was still in session. Police tell us, as you said, that this was during an altercation between this female teacher and her student, a 6-year-old. That means this was a class of first graders. That 6-year-old pulled out a gun and fired a shot into that teacher. The teacher immediately rushed to the hospital, as you said, with life-threatening injuries. And at that moment, the school also began lockdown procedures to make sure that no other students or staff was put in danger. Police also explaining yesterday that this shooting was contained to that one classroom and that at no moment were other students at risk after this shooting. I want you to just hear directly from law enforcement and school officials there in Newport News yesterday.
All right. So from what I'm gathering, that they've had issues with this young man before. And obviously, just like I told you last month about the mom who came on the air in reference to her 15-year-old, 13-year-old, 12-year-old getting shot in Atlanta, right outside of Atlantic Station. Once again, we as men need to step up to the plate. And I'm not saying you don't need to, sisters, black women. I'm just saying the men need to step up to the plate simply because it's going to take a man to bring a boy into manhood. Women cannot bring boys into manhood. If you are preparing your tongue right now to send some fly ass, ugly ass, nonsensical ass comment, all right, either you running the risk of getting cussed the fuck out or blocked. I'm not having that argument or that conversation with you. No woman can bring a little boy into manhood. Save that shit for somebody else on some other fucking YouTube channel. I'm not the one. All right? So now, back to our regularly scheduled program. Men need to step up to the plate, and we need to put not only one system in place for a rites of passage program, multiple systems in place. Because if the Christian is not going to look at the Muslims' rites of passage program as one, FOI or whatever it is, then you need to establish your own. But nonetheless, you need to establish one. All right? All the other people with the funny letters and all that other kind of stuff, if you want to set up one, but by all means do it. But we need to properly bring men, young boys, into manhood. With that said, this kind of stuff wouldn't happen because he would have to answer. And then we'd have to call mom in and be like, look, mom, if you own a firearm, this is the class you need to take. And then you need to triple check. All right? I go through the process every single day carrying a firearm. And trust me, it is a very uncomfortable thing. All right? Unless you've been carrying a firearm for a long time and you really comfortable with your holster, especially if it's a Kydex holster, and you comfortable with not printing and you wear the right clothes and you got the right firearm and that kind of thing, it's uncomfortable. I'm sitting here right now with my firearm on me, and it's really uncomfortable, but I'm used to it. All right. So when I go to take it off, I place it in a place. Of course, 90 some odd % of the time, I'm just here. Me and my wife and our two older, they're not young girls anymore. They're, early 20s. So it's like They know better because I've taken them to the range. We're about to do a refresher class in a minute. All right. This is what happens when this happened. Situational awareness, conflict avoidance. This is what this gun is. This gun right here has a more muzzle flip or recoil than that gun. Yada, yada, yada. I'm just kind of breaking all of these things down. All right. Here's the entry points that somebody might get into the house. Blah, 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 blah. Here's a code word when we meet. One room downstairs, the one with no windows. Inside of that room is the shotgun or the 300 black. So, yeah, all of that stuff needs to be discussed. But if you got an unruly 6-year-old and he going through stuff while you ain't home, and dad is nowhere to be seen, yeah. My dad passed away. My brothers stepped up to the plate. My uncle stepped up to the plate. All right, because my mom had 3 jobs. All right. All right. Y'all better leave Miss Griffin alone. All right. The individual is a 6-year-old student, Drew said. We have been in contact with our Commonwealth attorney and some other entities to help us best get services to this young man. He needs services. My question is, what happened to the services prior to? All right. We could prevent things from happening. All right. Weasels Jennifer, or did the parents or parent put the gun in the child's possession trying to hide it? Or I'm not understanding that, love. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, what do you guys think? What do you think about all of the states now that have implemented gun laws? All right. Not only to prevent this from happening, but I don't know, just restricting responsible firearms owners that truly understand the Second Amendment. Now, I'm gonna just tell y'all from the rip. I'm a 2A all day. All right. All day long. What little rights we do have, I'm taking advantage of them. All right. I'm damn near ordering the t-shirt. All right. Second Amendment. Plain and simple. Simply because I know, regardless of where I decide to live, when I call 911, it's best that I call Flavor Flav first, because, yeah. They slow to respond, and then when they do respond, they come in to kill someone that look just like me. Don't tell me, don't. I know what I'm saying. And we have stats and receipts to prove that. Anyway, so I'm 2A all day. All right, plain and simple. Now, along with the infrastructure that we need to set up in order to curb and deal with situations like this prior to them happening, we would encourage the mom to take a firearms class. Then, what's wrong with doing a wellness check on one another? What's wrong with that? I had a conversation with the women's group, gun group, that I'm the instructor for. We in 2023, we instituting a refresher course. After you take the first class, then we're doing a refresher course or class, simply because it's perishable skill. It is a perishable skill. If you don't use it, you will lose it. You will lose it. You have to go to the range. All right. Arc evolution. You're absolutely correct. It says we have more rights or no rights. I didn't understand that first line. Restoring our nation is more important than building inside a nation. That is not ours. I think the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said we're a nation within a nation, but we need to start acting like we're a nation. All right. Columbus, Ohio, devastating for youth, says teachers in Ohio can now carry firearms on school grounds under a new law, HR 99. Well, devastating for you. Please tell the lawmakers in Columbus, Ohio, they are late, because I got some relatives in Columbus, Ohio. They've been carrying guns. Y'all just don't need to know about it. So I don't know whether or not the child was white or black. I don't know if the teacher was white or black. I don't. So when someone is texting about race or commenting about race, I'm not sure. Caliente said, throw your guns away. Why? Why should we throw our guns away? Come on, y'all. Thank you, Quan. Couldn't have said it better myself. I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment rights, but I'm also a believer in gun safety awareness too. I got you, Quan. I was ahead of you. You shouldn't even get a gun if you're not going to take a class. You know how many times I've trained people and I've seen people at 5 feet away miss the target? I think gun safety is way more than important. It's a necessity. Right now, people are carrying guns. They don't even know the kind of ammo that they have in the gun. I hear a lot of women say it. I got children at home. I can't get I can't get a firearm that doesn't have a safety. Can I ask you something? What makes you think kids don't know how to take safeties off of guns? You ever see some of these video games lately? How sophisticated they are? BB guns, airsoft. Bam Tompkins. Yeah, I think you're answering a question that someone on IG posed to me. You said it doesn't matter what race, it's a child that is 6 years old. I feel the same way. Someone said that to me. I don't know the race. I didn't pull the race card. I didn't go into that. Clay Austin, you said, what is this world coming to? No, this world has been there already. This world has been there already. The article goes on to say authorities in the Newport News Public School District did not identify the teacher or the student involved in the shooting, but the teacher was identified by her alma mater, James Madison University, as Abby Zwerner. All of us as James Madison University are deeply saddened by the reported tragic shooting of JMU alma alumna Abby Zwerner. University President Jonathan R. Algier said in a statement posted on New School's official Facebook page, JMU is prepared to support those impacted by the incident now and in the weeks to come. All right. Serena is listed as a first grade teacher in Rich Neck Elementary School staff directory. Okay, that's the article. So then yet again, I'm not playing the race card. I don't know the race. But if the question of race do come up, white people's children have an earlier introduction to firearms way before black children. You could go on YouTube or you could ask some of your white friends, and I ask all the time, when was the first time you shot a gun? Oh, my dad used to take me out in the backyard and we used to shoot all the time. I was probably 7 years old, or I was probably 5. All right. And I'm guilty of that. My oldest daughter, I took her to the range when she was 10. Because we live in America and I wanted her to know how to defend herself. Now she has her own business and she concealed carries, and she have a permit to carry in the godless state of New York, a state that hates guns. And I can understand. I truly understand. Now, let me get my screen back. All right. We need effective laws and gun owners, but how can we expect the kids to not dysfunctional if they have weak parents, and the community won't hold the parents and kids accountable until it's too late? Good point. Thanks for the donation to Truth. Really appreciate you. All right. This is why I said we need to set up an infrastructure where we do hold people accountable. Not only for that, but just domestic violence, period. Black women have to get back to the point, since a lot of times, most times, dads are not in the home. And someone has to be able to kind of be there and be the, the disciplinarian, if I can put it that way. Someone has to say and lay the law down. So someone has to say what it is and what it is not going to be. We have to get back to the point where we do have a community. My neighbors can check my children and check on my children. All right. This is very real. When I was growing up, my mom had a couple of jobs. If I got locked out of the house, I just didn't sit on the porch. I went to my neighbor's house. If something happened and, my mom said, there's some Cheerios or some peanut butter and jelly or whatever, and if we didn't have nothing, I can go over my neighbor's house and eat. So, yeah. Thank you, Quan. He said, let's keep it a buck. Most parents do not want to be told how to raise their children. I'm glad Quan said it. Here I am trying to be the older Mr. Nice Guy. You can't tell these parents nothing. A couple of times at damn Walmart, I wanted to say something. But sometimes at dinner, I be seeing kids doing damn cartwheels and backflips and, floor exercise in the restaurant. Yeah. So it's a very interesting point. When are we going to get back to that point where you will allow someone like Griff to say something to your child? It's not going to be disrespectful. And I'm going to handle your child like your child was my child. we have to understand something. Bam Tompkins, you're absolutely correct. It does take a village. Well, what kind of village are we talking about? If we're talking about the hood helping to raise our children, no. And the reason why we don't call where we live a neighborhood, because people live in communities. We live in neighborhoods. All right? Because the whole idea and the aspect of you being a neighbor to the people that live in and around you is taken out of the equation. So we just live in hoods. You have to be responsible for building the village if the village is going to help raise the children. You have to be responsible for building and maintaining the village. There needs to be a code that's put in place. Yvonne basically asks, for some reason I can't chat on YouTube. The question I have is that, where can I get gun training for my 15-year-old and 7-year-old grandchild? I can't find a range here in Greensboro, North Carolina. My phone number is 678-557-2919. I'll give you the instructor's name, and he will meet you halfway. All right? On what you need to do with you getting the training, your 15-year-old and your 7-year-old. All right? Yvonne, my phone number is 678. There you go, Quan. There's my phone number, Yvonne. Hit me up. Text me later on. I'll give you the info. You're right, Ms. Tompkins. Homes make communities. Homes and families make neighborhoods. All right? This might be a stretch, but I think that we might need today's version of the Stop the Violence movement. That in and of itself is not going to do it. I always said or say politicians need to probably stop relying on politics to get this done. Religious leaders and preachers need to stop solely relying on religion. It's not going to cut it in and of itself. It's not going to happen. All right? Family. That in and of itself is not going to happen. All right? After school program, whether you serving vegan meals or you dressing up in suits, dashikis, or wedding dresses is not alone. That alone is not going to stop this and solve this problem. All right? I could ask a basic question right now. In the neighborhood that I live in, these are the people behind me, directly behind me right here, next door, across the street, and next door. I probably know, out of the 6, 7 people, I probably know 5. They don't know I'm Professor Griff. I'm just a guy that live in the house right there. One guy told me, I ran into him, I think at a store. He said, "Oh yeah, you the guy that live in the house with the big dog." Then I ran into one of my neighbors. I think it's in the park. "Oh, you live in the house with the fine wife." I was like, okay, I guess. Yeah, that would be me. People be watching. Yeah, I'm gonna tell Soleil she need to swap out them damn yoga pants and put on some get some pants from MC Hammer. And she does yoga in the front yard. But I'm saying all that to say this. My question to you is, how many of your neighbors do you know? I'm gonna ask you first, Quan. How many of your neighbors do you really know? How many of your can you go borrow a cup of sugar? Can you get a tea bag or some butter? Caliente? I wouldn't take my 7-year-old, no. I waited for my daughter to get to age 10. I could have took her a long time ago. But no. A 7-year-old finger strength, probably a 22 or 25. And in that case, you could do airsoft at home. You could do a BB gun at home. You understand what I'm saying? No. And plus, that's my child, my 10-year-old I was taking. So I was taking full responsibility. Right. I wouldn't necessarily advise anybody to take their 7-year-old to the gun range unless you take the class first and then you understand the dangers, you understand the safety, you understand what's at stake here. But Quan, you're right. White folks start their children out as 4 or 5 years old. I've seen this. I think it was in the Philippines. Little 6, 7-year-old man going through the course, putting them down. I'm like, wow. Well, a lot of times people are asking me questions about gun ranges and that kind of thing. A lot of times it's easier for white people to do that because they have land. I grew up in New York. Where you gonna shoot? Where you gonna shoot? When I was growing up in New York, a gun range was just kind of unheard of. Gun range. Nah. So you waited for July 4th or New Year's and you lick shots, lick some lead. All right. Just salute to the heat mob. All right. Somebody said the hood is the gun range. Come on, man. So we're gonna send some positive energy out. For all those that are still suffering from this madness they don't put out there, because I think they've been working on us for a minute. All right, as far as these chemtrails and these other things are concerned. So Quan, I'm slowly making my way. Because this social media stuff is about to shut down in a minute. I'm just telling you straight up. If we find alternative places to have this conversation, then let's do that. I established a Rumble page or some other places where we can just openly kind of talk. So I might just do that. I'm almost done with You Are the Song That You Sing, Book 2. I'm stepping it up, though. I got a big surprise for you guys when you get Book 2. It's a little bit more interactive, all right? There's a lot. Yes, I'm answering a couple of questions. about land and gun ranges. There are a lot of black people that own land that absolutely for years are doing nothing with. You don't have to turn the land into a gun range. There's certain laws in the state that you live in that'll allow you to shoot. All right, as long as it's a certain amount of yards from the road, and you have a berm and some other stuff, you could shoot. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right, family. It's been very, very real. It's been very, it's nice to know that I can have these conversations, and there are a lot of intelligent people out there that have good common sense, that know their way around firearms. You know, I know some people that, you know, I've known for 50 years have been carrying firearms. No negligent discharges, no accidental discharges, no, you know, nothing like that. All right. What we do, Teddy Grams, we live in that society. You said, what sort of culture change do you think is necessary for today's youth and adults to take gun safety and ownership seriously? Well, we live in that kind of society, and you should. All right, you should take it serious. All right. So I would encourage everyone to take a firearms class. My firearms class in Atlanta is in 2 weeks at the end of January. Get in the class now. All right. We cover everything. The basics, definitely we cover. Which I think everyone should kind of get the basics just off the top of my head. We cover the safety rules. We cover the 5 elements that need to be in place in order for you to claim self-defense. We talk about stand your ground law. We talk about the castle doctrine. We build the individual from the ground up. All right, we work on your stance. Thank you, Quan. We work on your stance. We work on your grip. We work on your sight picture, sight alignment. We work on your breath control. All right. And everything in between. We go through shot placement analysis with you. All right. We talk about what gun is good for you. All right. What gun is good for concealment. All right. You know, I'm a $155. Creeping up on 5'6" on my best day. I don't carry a big firearm, but I don't carry one of the small ones. I'm kind of comfortable and used to the one I carry. I know what it can do and what it can't do. All right, there's a certain distance. I'm not shooting back at anybody at a certain distance any your way. All right. So we kind of lay it out from get the basics down pat. I work people through their first shot, and sometimes I gotta have people unlearn some stuff in order to learn some stuff. Military people and people that's just shooting guns in the hood and don't know no better. You gotta unlearn those things. Y'all be surprised how many times I gotta take somebody's finger off the trigger. So yeah. So we need to and my thing is focusing on safety. My concept is STELT. Safety, training, education, and legal protection. All right. In any defensive situation, you're going to need legal protection. So I would suggest people go to the USCCA for that. Tell them Professor Griff sent you. All right, USCCA. Look it up now. All right. Okay, fam. I love y'all to life. All right. Let's continue to move towards making ourselves better, making each other better. All right. And to a degree, whichever we can, just be real with one another, be transparent, and we can begin to start holding people accountable. People hold me accountable all the time. Hell, I'm around people every other week with guns in their hand. So there's a certain level of trust I have to have. I got to sit through an hour class, 2-hour class, sometimes a 3-hour class, and I got to evaluate people from just them being in the class on whether or not I want to go on the range and put a gun in their hand. All right. TAM Shy DEV. That's a class that we're gonna have to set up. All right, just you and I. All right. My phone number is 678-557-2919. I teach a course. It's entitled Developing an Urban Tactical Mindset. Developing an Urban Tactical Mindset. All right. Developing an urban tactical mindset. So we build an individual from the ground up. People say, well, I bought a gun, but I said, well, when did you buy it? Oh, I bought it 2 years ago. And I never shot it. Wow. So it's still in the box on top of the closet in the plastic? Okay. Wow. Wow. We need to talk about that, man. All these reports about women possibly getting kidnapped and getting all this stuff happening, robbed and all this kind of stuff, carjacked. This class should be packed. For real. All right, fam. It's Professor Griff. Love you all to life. I got to get out of here. All right, Quan. Peace. We'll talk. All right. All right, fam. I'm definitely coming on tomorrow. So we'll dive into some other. There's some things I've been dying to talk about. Yeah. I swear I've been wanting to talk about Mrs. Maxwell's list, her and Epstein. Anyway, we'll talk. All right, peace, fam.
Greetings, peace and love, and welcome to Smile Pharmacy Apothecary. We've been here since 2019, and although times have changed and healthcare has evolved, our traditions of compassion and professionalism thrives on. You are always at the heart of what we do. Smile Pharmacy, we heal. Visit us today online or in store at smilepharmacy.com.
50 million. That's how many people in the U.S. suffer from chronic pain. Many turn to opioid painkillers for relief.
The evidence is not at all clear about the efficacy of these drugs long-term for chronic pain.
Mayo Clinic pain management specialist Dr. Mike Hooten says what is clear about these painkillers is the risk associated with taking them.
The problems of addiction, but also a related problem of accidental overdose deaths.
Keep your body in motion with Little Goddess's Pain Potion on littlegoddessapothecary.com.
Check out Plant-Based BK on DoorDash. Create your own playlist from our winter soundtrack. Turn up the bass.
Greetings, family. The Resurrection Formula is on sale now. You can order it at www.ProfessorGriff.me or simply call 678-557-2919 or just text 678-557-2919 or scan the QR code on the screen. This is Professor Griff. Thank you very much. The Resurrection Formula is on sale now at www.ProfessorGriff.me. Thank you.
You are the song that you sing. Who are the artists that have learned their ABCs and put them into song? This children's book is designed for parents, teachers, educators, and gentlers, and mentors to use as a tool to teach the alphabet and bridge the gap between the musical ages. It's on sale now. Call 678-557-2919 or go to www.ProfessorGriff.me. Thank you.
Warning. Self-destruct sequence has initiated.
We just received some very disturbing news from Washington that the Supreme Court of the United States of America has stripped away the right and responsibility to protect its citizens.
The Senate passing the first significant gun legislation in the U.S. in nearly 3 decades.
Allowing ordinary citizens to carry concealed weapons into stores and malls, on mass transit, in daycare centers and hospitals, in polling places, or in bars and restaurants does not make us safer.
The Constitution protects an individual's right to carry a handgun for self-defense outside the home.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.